14th-century England was a society tearing itself apart. The population had been decimated by the plague, the economy was drained by a seemingly endless war with France, and severe social inequality was pushing the lower classes toward open rebellion. While writers like Geoffrey Chaucer used witty irony to poke fun at this unraveling society, his close friend John Gower took a much stricter approach. Gower saw himself as the era's unwavering moral compass. But speaking to the entire nation was a logistical nightmare because England was culturally fractured along linguistic lines. The aristocracy and the court spoke French. The church and the academic elite communicated in Latin. Meanwhile, the vast majority of commoners only spoke English. To bypass this divide, Gower produced major works in all three languages, attacking the nation's moral decay from every cultural angle at once. He functioned as a self-appointed social physician, diagnosing the sins of specific classes and delivering targeted linguistic interventions to heal a divided nation. Gower launched his campaign at the top, writing his first major work, Miroir de l'Homme, in French, to target the ruling elite directly. This text is a sprawling 30,000-line allegory. Within it, Gower meticulously details the corruption, vanity, and spiritual decay of the nobility. By addressing the French-speaking elite first, Gower establishes his core philosophy. Societal decay trickles down. If the leaders act selfishly, the rest of the nation will inevitably follow. Before Gower could finish correcting the elite, history interrupted. In 1381, in response to heavy poll taxes, the peasants' revolt erupted across England. Terrified by the lower-class uprising, Gower completely shifted his approach. He abandoned French and pivoted to Latin, the language of the church and absolute authority, to write his next major poem, Vox Clamantis. In this text, he doesn't portray the rebelling peasants as oppressed citizens. Instead, he describes them as mindless, rampaging beasts who have abandoned their humanity to destroy the natural order. For Gower, there was no room for violent protest. He believed that suppressing the revolt and maintaining a rigid, top-down social hierarchy was the only way to uphold divine moral order. A few years later, King Richard II personally commissioned a new poem from Gower. This time, the poet turned to his native Middle English, allowing him to speak simultaneously to the monarchy and the common people. His final work, Confessio Amantis, relies on a frame narrative. One large overarching story serves as a container for dozens of smaller tales. In this frame, an aging lover confesses to a priest who responds with short, instructive stories to guide him toward better behavior. But Gower is operating on two levels here. While characters discuss the ethics of romantic love, Gower uses these same stories to indirectly instruct King Richard II on the ethics of governance. By adopting the vernacular English and packaging his advice within the intimate structure of a confession, Gower turns abstract political theory into a matter of deeply personal moral accountability. This direct approach stands in sharp contrast to his peers. Where William Langland used gritty, aggressive alliteration in Piers Plowman, and Chaucer layered his tales with chaotic, ambiguous irony, Gower chose a different path. He developed what scholars call the plain style. He wrote in smooth, perfectly structured rhyming couplets designed to deliver clear, unambiguous moral lessons. Gower treated poetry as a functional social instrument, where the perfect structure of his rhymes served as a blueprint for the structural order he demanded from the state. Alongside Chaucer, Gower proved that Middle English could carry the same political and philosophical gravity as the ancient languages of the church and court. In an era defined by violent fracture and confusion, Gower achieved something remarkable. He proved that a single, steady voice in the common tongue could speak to the moral conscience of an entire kingdom.